and welcome to NSO at Home Live, a concert series created by the musicians of the National Symphony Orchestra. My name is Marissa Regni. I'm Principal Second Violin of the National Symphony. I'll be your host tonight and every Sunday night as we bring live music into your homes and hopefully into your hearts. Well, it's hard to believe, but this is our 35th show on the air with all of you. That was a compilation of all of my intros since the beginning of May, and one of our producers, Jamie Roberts, likes to call it the evolution of Marissa's hair. But truly, it does show the journey that we have been on together for the past 8 months as we've tried to navigate these now uncertain, unprecedented times. And we thank you for being with us every step of the way. So on this last Sunday in December, we decided to do a bit of a retrospective. We're actually going to do it this Sunday and next Sunday as well. So this is part one of our retrospective. We're going to look back on some musical moments, and I thank from the bottom of my heart all of the members of the National Symphony that have contributed and just given us their musical talent, their artistry. They're just such wonderful people and musicians. So we share this with you and hope that you enjoy sort of a trip down memory lane. So we are going to start this evening off kind of the way it all started out. On May the 3rd at 7 p.m. we had our first show, and our first family, the Nickel family, joined us. James Nickel is a horn player in the National Symphony Orchestra, and his wife Juliana is a flute player, and she teaches at George Mason University. They kicked the show off with a piece by George Philip Telemann. He was a Baroque composer, and they played Canonic Sonata. So we're going to go back in time and remember that third movement of the Canonic Sonata that you heard on May the 3rd, 2020. To you some of our new musicians. And on our 15th show, we did just that. We introduced to you Derek Powell. He is a brand new member of the National Symphony Orchestra's violin section. He was supposed to start back in the spring, and of course that was not possible. So we really look forward to eventually being able to work with him because he is so terrific. And on the 15th show, he joined us with his wife, Allie. She is a violist. She's actually the principal violist of the Kennedy Center Opera House Orchestra, and they played just an outstanding rendition of Franz Schubert's extraordinary song, Der Ölkönig. When I heard them play this, I just knew they had to come back. So we have to replay this on our 35th show because it was just unbelievable. This is an incredible song, as I mentioned, by Schubert, very action-packed, about a father racing through the night on horseback, trying to save his ill son. And you can hear just all of the drama in the music, and they just knocked it out of the park. So let's now revisit Derek Powell and Alison Goodman's Der Ölkönig. Check us out on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on YouTube. On Facebook and on YouTube, we are NSO Musicians. On Instagram, we are NSO_musicians. So please check us out. We're always posting new content. And if you feel like it, all 34 of the previous shows are there and archived, so you can do a binge watch session over the holidays. Also, please check out our good friends and colleagues at the Kennedy Center Opera House Orchestra. They too are always posting fabulous content. They're on Facebook and they're on Instagram, and you can find them under KCOHO Musicians. So check us out, subscribe to us, and like us if you would. Okay, we've got two great performances now back to back. The first, we're going to remember a brass quintet that played. This is 4 NSO musicians. We've got principal trumpet Pirelli Gerlach, horn player Bob Reardon, trombonist Dave Murray, tuba player Steve DeMaine, and joining them from the U.S. Marine Band President's Own is trumpet player Amy McCabe. They played at the beautiful courtyard garden area of Classical Movements, which is an old town, Alexandria in Virginia. Such a beautiful setting. And they played this beautiful piece by Gabrieli that is called Canzone personale con ogni sorte di instrumenti, which is loosely translated as a song to be played with all kinds of instruments. And they are playing on all kinds of instruments. So we're going to enjoy that, and then we're going to move on to what was a world premiere on our program. This was so exciting. This was week 3 of our shows, and our wonderful principal flute, Aaron Goldman, joined us for this world premiere, and it was by a composer, American composer, who is New York based. His name is Philip Wharton. Philip and I actually went to school together. And he wrote this piece at the beginning of the pandemic when New York City was completely in a lockdown. He lives close to Central Park, and he remembers how in the springtime so many people flock to Central Park to birdwatch and see the migration. And of course, Central Park was completely empty because everyone was in this lockdown. And he wondered from the birds' perspective how strange that must have been to not see the humans after all this time. So the piece is called Where Are All the Watchers? So please enjoy Gabrieli, followed by this world premiere of Where Are the Watchers, performed by Aaron Goldman. As I mentioned before, I think one of the fun things about this show in this past 8 months is getting to know the musicians in a little different way. And one way we have tried to do that with the National Symphony and through the Kennedy Center is through something called musician profiles. If you go on to our social media, you will see these little videos that some of the musicians have made that give you sort of a peek into behind the scenes of what we do and maybe some interests, things that we do in our free time. I made one of these videos this past summer, and I chose as my topic a behind-the-scenes tour of NSO at Home Live. I thought it would be fun for all of you to see kind of a day in the life of the show and what we do to put it together. So if you've not seen that video, we thought we would show it to you now, and you'll get a glimpse in what it's like for us, a week in the life at NSO at Home Live. When I joined the National Symphony Orchestra 24 years ago, I never imagined I'd be wearing so many different hats. My name is Marissa Regni, and I'm the Principal Second Violin of the National Symphony Orchestra. I love playing in an orchestra, but I'm also really grateful that I've had so many extraordinary opportunities to do other things, because I love being involved in a variety of projects. In addition to playing in the orchestra, I play a lot of chamber music, and I really love writing education programs. Since 2006, I've written some education concerts that have been performed at the Kennedy Center and throughout the United States. And since 2014, I've been the co-creator and host of the National Symphony Orchestra's Young People's Concerts. But this past spring, I started doing something I never imagined possible. I'm the host of NSO at Home Live. This is a concert series that a couple members of the orchestra started when the COVID-19 pandemic hit and we were all forced to stay home. We wanted to start something that would keep our music alive and keep our musicians performing, but we wanted it to be casual and fun. We broadcast every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. Perhaps you've seen our little show. So we thought it might be a good idea to give you a little backstage tour of NSO at Home Live. This is kind of a week in the life of NSO at Home Live. Our producers are NSO hornist Bob Reardon, assistant principal oboe Jamie Roberts, and trombonist David Murray. David designs the programs each week and puts it into a format that we can share with our friends and family and post on social media. Jamie is our scheduler. She determines who will play each week. She's also our social media guru. During the show, she watches on 5 different devices, one for each platform we broadcast to, and monitors the comments that come in. And Bob is like the Wizard of Oz. From his home, he controls the entire broadcast, bringing each performer in and out of the show. During the week, Bob and I talk several times to discuss logistics and organize the order of the show. On Saturday, we do a tech rehearsal with each performer. We check their sound and go over the basic flow of the program. On Sunday night at 7 p.m., It's showtime. Hello, and welcome to NSO at Home Live, a concert series created by the musicians of the National Symphony Orchestra. My name is Marissa Regni. I'm the Principal Second Violin of the National Symphony. I'll be your host tonight and every Sunday night as we bring live music into your homes and hopefully into your hearts. I broadcast in front of my fireplace. I chose this location because it's very colorful and I thought it was just very sort of casual and cheery. I especially love my dream statue, and in front of the statue I have these 4 little gnomes that I actually bought when the National Symphony Orchestra was on tour in Poland several years ago. So in a way, the National Symphony is with me on every single broadcast. This is what it looks like from my point of view. I've got my table with everything I'll need on it for the show. I've got my drink, my notes, my iPad that I use to communicate with Bob during the show, lots of tape. I've got my camera, some lights, and I have an Ethernet cable that runs all the way through our living room, through our kitchen, and into the office where our router is plugged in. Every week, I begin and end every show by playing a piece of music that's become kind of our theme song. It's by the Austrian composer and violinist Fritz Kreisler, and it's called Variations on a Theme by Pirelli. Since every week you only hear 45 seconds of this very charming piece, I thought it would be nice if I played it in its entirety. enjoyed that video, and I hope you've been enjoying these shows. If you have been, perhaps you'll consider a donation to the National Symphony Orchestra. If you'd like to do so, it's very easy. You go to kennedy-center.org/support NSO. And of course, any money you give is 100% tax deductible and would mean the world to us. So we have two more performances now back to back. The first is our wonderful harpist, Adriana Horn. She's such a beautiful player. And this is a performance from our 6th week on the air. This was a very exciting time for us because this particular show had our record-breaking 140,000 views on Facebook. That was very exciting for us, and so glad that Adriana was a part of that. So this is her performance from that show of Alphonse Hosselmann's Au Monastère. Alphonse Hosselmann was the grandfather of the harp repertoire. And in this piece, you will really hear the harp imitating sounds in a monastery of distant bells and sounds in the countryside. It's such a lovely piece. And after that, we're going to hear a really beautiful arrangement of Paul McCartney's song Blackbird that was arranged for 2 cellos and violin by NSO cellist Britton Riley. So you'll see Britton Riley performing alongside NSO cellist Eugenia Chang and NSO violinist Wan Jin Lee. So let's check out Au Monastère and Blackbird. broadcast, we decided to bring in a wonderful quintet of NSOers. They performed once again in the lovely courtyard and garden area of Classical Movements in Old Town Alexandria, and they performed Sergei Prokofiev's Quintet. That was the music for a ballet about a circus, and the music is kind of crazy and spooky, and we thought it was perfect for Halloween. And this was such a terrific performance by Jamie Roberts, Paul Seigan, Ying Fu, Dan Foster, and Alex Jacobson, all of course members of the National Symphony Orchestra. So we're going to revisit the first movement of that piece, and you can remember what you were doing on Halloween. got 2 more performances before we wrap things up for the evening, but before we do that, I want to remind you we will be back next week, next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern for part 2 of our retrospective. So please come back next Sunday and join us as we look back on some more wonderful performances by members of the National Symphony Orchestra. So we're going to close things out now with 2 great duets. The first is by NSO violinist Glenn Donnellan and his wife Jan Chong. Jan is also a violinist and she subs quite frequently with the orchestra. This was such a heartwarming, wonderful performance from week 3, and it made me cry on air. It was so touching. Glenn, almost 2 years ago, found out he had a brain tumor, and his journey back to good health has been difficult and a long journey, but with Jan by his side, there's nothing they can't conquer, and it's just so moving to see him performing again and to see them together. So let's enjoy this beautiful performance of Over the Rainbow. And we're going to close things out with a rousing rendition of George Gershwin's It Ain't Necessarily So. This is from his fantastic opera Porgy and Bess, and we heard NSO violinist Joel Fuller perform this with pianist Lisa Emenheiser. It's going to knock your socks off, so let's wrap this evening up with Over the Rainbow and It Ain't Necessarily So. That is it for us tonight. Thank you all so much for being with us. Before we go, just a couple quick reminders. If you'd like to donate to the National Symphony, you can do so by going to kennedy-center.org/support NSO. Next week, we will be back Sunday, 7 p.m. for part 2 of our retrospective. We will again be looking at some great musical moments and remembering our time together over these past 8 months. So please join us next Sunday at 7. Of course, I want to thank our wonderful production team, Bob Reardon, Jamie Roberts, and Dave Murray, for all that they do this week and every week. They're just so incredible. I want to thank Thomas Baker for his beautiful artwork, and I want to thank Sophie Edwards for all of her help on my end with my tech needs. Thanks, of course, to all of you for supporting us, not just this week, but every week this past 8 months. It really means the world to us. And so we bid you adieu this evening, and we wish you a very happy new year, and we look forward to seeing you in 2021.